Hello again. I thought I'd make a new video talking about AIs like ChatGPT and also Google Bard and other LLMs. I previously uh, made a video demonstrating how you could set up a system to chat or speak with ChatGPT by running a service in Python on a local Linux box which sort of handled the speech recognition and passed various questions via an API to ChatGPT. Um, it was kind of limited by the token size and the fact that ChatGPT, unless you're paying for it, obviously limits the length of your conversations. Um, let's just switch over here, shall we? So you're probably very aware of the various AI chatbots that are available on the market these days, such as ChatGPT here and Google's Gemini, which was, of course, previously called Google Bard. Um, you can sign up for these services and use them in your day to day activities, asking them questions and getting answers. Um, many people use it for work, marketing, and other things. Now, typically, offices have started to restrict the use of these services, uh, primarily because they share data and train the AI with data. Now, if, like me, you're a developer, then you work with proprietary software and code. And obviously, your companies that you work for don't want that code shared with other people. And when you use these sort of tools to look up answers to questions and, refactor code and so on, some of your in-house data runs the risk of being shared and then given to other people. Now, obviously, if that was a mission critical piece of code, that could be quite disastrous for your company. So it's understandable why companies therefore want to restrict their staff from using these tools in that sense. So, how is that relevant to my video here today? Well, with that in mind, you obviously want to use something which doesn't share your data. Um, and of course, in regards of setting up something like a speech system to talk to an AI, again, you probably want to run your own local LLM, and also you want to control what is shared. So, after some searching, a few months ago, I came across this little tool, LM Studio, available here at lmstudio.ai. Now, I was looking to run local chatbots here, and I found many of them out there had quite complex sort of installation requirements and procedures, which would have taken a lot of time. And I just simply wanted something that I could set up and try different models. And this tool I found is perfect for that requirement. It's available on Mac, Windows, and Linux. People have mixed results really on Linux, to be honest with it. My own personal experience when I tried using Ubuntu 22.04, it worked perfectly out of the box. But I've known other people have issues, so I think probably it varies in terms of hardware as to how it runs. I mean, my spare bit of kit here has an NVIDIA graphics card in it, so that might be one reason. Typically, they tend to run more stably, so potentially that could be why it worked for me and not for my friend, for example. Anyway, I am getting distracted. So as it says here, with LM Studio, you can run local large language models on your laptop entirely offline, which is sort of ideal for what I would use it for when I'm programming. Um, Again, my spare PC here isn't all that powerful. It's an AMD 1600X. It's got 16 gigabytes of RAM and an NVIDIA 1070 in there. So, you know, not the most sort of modern, up-to-date system. And it runs, by and large, quite a few of the models available. I would think the one thing I might change is to add another 16 gigs of RAM to it for running LLMs, because some of the bigger ones, obviously need more memory to operate in. The tool is fairly quick and easy to use. You can just download it from the links here, and it will load up an interface. Now, if I just switch across to my other PC here, you will see that we have the interface open. So let's just go back to the home page for it. So immediately when you launch this app, you will see that you're greeted with this home page. And it tells you it supports Llama, Mistral, Phi 2, Falcon, and so on. I should also note, I suppose, that if you scroll to the very bottom here, they make a point to say that the app does not collect any data or monitor your actions. All data stays local on your machine, and it's for business and personal use, which is great for what we want to do. So let's go back here. On the home page, you will see it lists the latest releases of AI models for you to run locally on your computer. Now, these all come from, I think it's called Hugging Face, which is a large repository of LLMs available for anyone to download and install. Let me just see if I can find a link to that on here. We'll just do it by hand, shall we? Here we go. So this is Hugging Face, and on there are many different repositories of LLMs for pretty much any kind of job that you can imagine, really. So we have image to text, we have video classification, text to video, and all sorts available here. But again, these would typically require that you have some setup involved, and that can be quite painstaking. Whereas with something like LM Studio, you literally can just go in, choose the one you want, and install it. Now, I've previously here installed Google's Gemma, which is based on the Gemini models, which again is Google Bard and that sort of family of AIs that you can go online and use via Google services in a fashion much the same to ChatGPT. So again, ideal for the purpose of running it. So let's take a look at how this all works. So locally, I have a copy of this Gemini LLM. You can see it here when you go to the app's inbuilt chat page. Now, you can choose your models that you want to use. So, for example, I have one here which is called Code Llama, DeepSeek Coder, which is quite good. It has a very high token limit, so if you're working on a script, you can put lengthy code in there and get answers to it. And I believe I have one as well for writing creative stories somewhere in amongst those. For today's session, I'm just going to use Gemma here. And in much a similar fashion to ChatGPT and Gemini, you can just ask it any question you want by typing it in. If I can spell correctly, that would help. Here we go. And you'll see it will respond. Now, under the hood, you can tweak your settings that your model is using. There are various ones. You can tell it to hand off to your GPU to handle the processing, which speeds it up to be much faster. Here we can see a little draggable bar to determine how much you offload and so on. So if you go up to max, it will ask you to reload it. And as long as you've got the memory and the power to run it, then it will be happy to help you. So this is all well and dandy and perfectly useful for day-to-day purposes. So no limit on what you can ask it, no need to pay for a higher tier, and all data kept private and local to your own computer, which is ideal, really. So where do we go to next? Well, this video I made was to talk as well about how you can then add speech to this. So, after digging around within the various repositories here on LM Studio, I found this little script lurking on GitHub called LM Chat TTS Front End, which it describes itself as a simple yet powerful interface for interacting with LM Studio models using text-to-speech functionality. This project is designed to be a lightweight and user-friendly system, making it suitable for a wide range of users interested in exploring interactions with AI models. Essentially, it's a HTML file someone has developed with JavaScript and CSS to skin as a front end to use with LM Studios and the LLM of your choice. The setup procedure for that is fairly easy. You go in and you can clone using Git, and then you just need a web server on your computer where the LLM is hosted. In this case, obviously my spare PC here. I'm using a little tool called UWAMP just because it's quick and dirty to get a web server up and running. And within the folder there's LM Chat TTS frontend, and I've dropped it in just as a file called chat.html. Then all you need to do is know the local IP address or host of the server, and you can access that from any PC or device on your network. So let's go back and have a look what that would look like. Here we are. So again, you can see it's a fairly basic sort of interface. You can give your AI a profile picture if you want. You can set the system prompt, give it a name, choose the speech, text-to-speech engine. At the moment, it's using the default built-in Microsoft Windows one here. And you can set up names. You can see what the memory log is. And at the very end here, we have the endpoint, which then connects to LM Studio. In LM Studio, you can load any of the AI large language models that you use to chat here into a local server. So here we are. We have a port number, allow cross origin, which can be handy, request queuing. I've turned that off because I found it sort of got a bit confused. And you can have various logs and so on output here to see what's going on. It then gives you an example of how you might send a chat request, such as a question, to the local server. And of course, you can load up predefined presets and tweak all your hardware settings as you can in the chat. So this script on your web server talks to this instance of LM Studio running a local server to the AI chatbot. This is then shared via that web page to this interface here for you to use. So that means that you can ask your questions here rather than having to use the app's own interface. So you could ask it, have you read any nice books lately? For example. Hit send, and we should get a response.
I do not have the ability to read physical books or experience the physical world in the same way that humans do. Therefore, I do not have any books to read or an awareness of their existence.
It appears that Gemma here cannot read books because she is just a LLM and has no idea about them. But you get the point. So this system can be used to chat and ask questions to the LLM of your choice as you like and have the response read aloud to you, which is kind of nice. I think you could probably style this to look a little bit tidier with some basic CSS skills, but it's a good demonstration and example of how you could do this. And again, behind the scenes, you have code here that you could pull apart and see how it handles talking to it and possibly improve upon. One thought that occurred to me was that, as in the past, you might be able to use a tool like Voice Attack to then tie this in with speech recognition. Um, I've used Voice Attack in the past to add custom commands that allow you to use the built-in Windows speech recognition to control your PC, including launching Cortana to get various chat responses from that. The more advanced commands you can enter into Voice Attack allow you to execute external system commands. So, in theory, you would ask a question, capture the question, pass it to an external system command running in the shell, perhaps using curl, as in the example here, within LM Studio, to then pass that question across to the local server, capture the response, which you would then hand to Voice Attack and read aloud, perhaps using, again, the built-in system speech text-to-speech system. In much the same fashion here as this script does, the LMM chat TTS one. So there you go. Kind of interesting, and with quite a lot of possibility and use depending upon what your requirements are. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I may well make another one soon discussing the various other options out there, such as using AI within Visual Studio Code, for example, with code completion. I've been thinking of making a video about that, as there are similar problems with that when using it for work. Again, many of the tools out there, such as the GitHub Copilot and so on, share data, so companies ban you from using them because they don't want their proprietary in-house code shared with everyone and their mission critical software out there for the public to use as they like. Obviously, that could have disastrous consequences, as mentioned before. And interestingly, I've found that there are some tools again out there that do not share data in this fashion. And in fact, there are even tools being developed for popular IDEs, such as PHP Storm, for example, where you will be able to hook the IDE in to use whatever local language model you want to use to handle the code completion, including one running locally on a computer on your company network in-house, which again would be ideal. Anyway, that's a video for another time. Goodbye.